Hi, Stephen from OWNorDisown. Gigabyte have been very kind to send me their new Aero 15. Now this is the one with the 4K AMOLED display, by Samsung. So I was really excited because I remember I had an OLED display on me Alienware 13R3 and it was drop dead gorgeous. It was bright, it was sharp, clear outside, it was great. Now it's a 60 Hz display, so it's more geared towards, not gamers, but more for content creators, and that's for how they want me to approach this review. Of course, this is just an unboxing first look, followed by the review, but they want me to do more, testing for the panel, for how it works with the studio drivers for creativity applications, that type of thing. I will of course test some gaming as well, but the focus will be mainly on the creative side of things. Now I did have I think I had the original 15, then the 15X, and now of course this one here. Now there's various models. You can start off with the GTX 1650. Now I'm not sure what the price of that is, but it also, you can get it with the 1660 Ti, the i7-9750H, and that retails on Amazon for about $1,900, and that's with a 240 Hz display. So I think that's not bad at all. For a gamer, I think that's probably the one I would opt for, because it starts going up in price quite steeply thereafter. Of course, you've got the 2070 Max Q, you've got the 2060, sorry, then you've got the 2070 Max Q, which I've got here, and then of course it goes all the way up to the 4K OLED with the 2080 Max Q, and that goes for about $4,000. So you're talking no chump change there, but of course that's a really high-end configuration. Now the power brick is going to be a 230 watt power brick, and they said they reduced the size of it by like 3.5 centimeters. It's like 15 centimeters long now, just to make it a little bit more portable. So that's quite nice, and it's good to have the 230 watt brick there. Now they have changed the design slightly, in fact not slightly, quite a bit on this. In fact the lid is actually different to what it was previously, and I do like the styling better for sure. And the hinge, from what I saw, is different, a little bit different too. Of course we had more of a cover going over here, and the webcam is positioned here with a little switch, so you can turn it, close it if you don't want to be spied on by unscrupulous bosses. Now of course we've still got very thin thinness bezels, so it's the same all the way around, and they say it's 3mm thick there. And already, I mean, the panel, it's glossy. Now the other ones at 244 Hz or 144 Hz IGZO panels will be probably more matte display, an anti-coating, anti-glare coating on here. This is, going to be quite glossy because it's an OLED. Now it's got a 1 millisecond response time. That should help with ghosting, but I suspect tearing will be, just the same as any other 60 Hz panel, of course. Now the keys, I'm not sure if they've particularly changed any. The fan control is on the escape key next to the sleep key. Of course, last time I inadvertently would often put the computer to sleep when it was close to the the escape key. Now, one thing they have improved a lot here is venting. They have got some air intakes here above the keyboard. You've got air intakes coming in through the keyboard. Of course, you've now got venting at the sides, heat sinks here at the sides. You didn't have that before. And you've got at the back, and borrowing from like the Aorus design here, you've got 3 vents here. So it's actually totally 11 venting there, 11 vents, and that's substantial. And I'll open it up and you can have a look at the heat pipes, because they've changed the heat pipes as well. So back cover is made of aluminium, just like the rest of the chassis. Remove quite a few Torx screws to take it off. Now you notice big air intakes here, that's really good. And of course you can see at the sides here, you have some heat sinks here, so you didn't have that on the previous model. And of course here you've got the speakers firing down at the front. Now it's easy to take off and it's nice and stiff. Kudos to Gigabyte for maintaining a large battery, 94 watt hour battery. They say about 8.5 hours of runtime. That's about 20% brightness, so that is pretty nice. You've got the speakers, of course, here, and they got the 2 M.2 slots. Now, what I do like, they label it. So the spare one is NVMe and SATA, whilst the one that's populated is NVMe only. And it's got the Intel 760p and that's up to about 3,200 megabytes per second read. So it's a fast SSD. You got the Killer 1650X Wi-Fi 6 Wi-Fi card, and that's a good Wi-Fi card. And you've got Samsung RAM populated, so it's dual channel. That is very good. And another big difference here is the heat pipes, of course, feeding to these side heat sinks, which of course you never had before. So the GPU one and the CPU one, and of course you can get an i9 in here for the CPU, and I think this will probably cope fairly well. I do like it. So you do still have the two shared heat pipes, but I like that you got separate ones here. Now each fan has 71 blades, and it should move quite a bit of air. So ports on the right hand side, of course, have been moved down a little bit because you've got the heat sink here. So pretty much centrally located is the power connector. You have the UHS 2 SD card reader, very fast. I like that. And you've got the Thunderbolt 3 port and two USB 3.1 Type A ports. And on the left hand side, we have another air exhaust, HDMI 2.0, a USB-C port with mini DisplayPort 1.4, a third USB 3.1 Type A port, combo headphone microphone jack, and an Ethernet port. Good selection of ports. Now around the back, you've got some good air exhausts here, and what I also like is the Aero stamped here in the center. That's a nice classy touch. And weight wise, at £4.14 and with the power brick, £6.12. So it's a comparison of the keyboard deck and keyboard versus the Triton 500, and you know, I do prefer the Aero 15. It actually does look more classy than the Triton 500, and you know, this is, take nothing away from the Triton 500, I do like this as well, but you know, the RGB keyboard on here is very good. It's much brighter than the 15X I looked at, and big problem though, I suppose, the secondary function keys aren't lit up, question mark, colon, that type of thing. Also, I do like the Triton 500, how the paint does make it stand out on the side of the keys. There's nothing like that here, but still, it does look nice and classy. Of course, you can peel off the stickers, and notice you do have a fingerprint reader on the Aero 15, which is a nice touch, nice to have that. And of course, you can see the air intakes on both. The power button is centrally located here, and of course, there's the webcam with its cover. But I do like the look of it so far. Of course, you've got a separate number pad and the fan control here. So thumbs up from me. So 20mm thick, it's pretty slim, and in fact, you look at it, it's pretty comparable to the Triton 500, and it's actually not quite as deep, a little bit smaller footprint, I would say. The colors on the OLED panel on the right are so much better. You know, I never would have really appreciated it, but there's so much more depth to it. The sand looks like sand there rather than grey. And on the left here, we've got the Triton 500 144Hz panel, and I thought that was okay. But looking at this, there's no comparison at all. So in the Gigabyte Control Center, you can alter the power to the CPU. There's 5 stages, and power to the GPU. So I've got 80 watts on the GPU going, and middle of the pack for the CPU. And I've been running Ada 64 for about 34 minutes now, and an auto fan. And as you can see, you know, the temperatures here are doing pretty good. Even the peak, perfectly fine. Of course, this is just Ada 64. Now the CPU clock has settled down to around about 3000, so it's not exactly that much. And if we look at the power, actually the CPU package power is around about 52 watts, so that's pretty good, but it's not holding a super high boost, which I was expecting it to boost up higher. But still, the temperature is good. So let's crank this up to the max power on the CPU, and I can hear the fans cranking up, and we'll see what the temperatures go to then. Alright, so now after another 15 minutes of running with the max power on the CPU, it's gone up to about 3200 megahertz. It's still on auto fan, and we're still very cool at 73 degrees. Next, let's throw in Time Spy. Let's have a look at the temperatures now. Time Spy and everything running. Auto fan, it did pick up to 93, still not too bad when it's auto fan. You know, averaging around about 70 degrees. and I think that's pretty good. Of course, you can see we're up to like 62 watts of CPU, so the cooling is definitely much better on this system. Crank up the max fan, much better. So we'll do that. We'll crank up the max fan and see how we get on. All right, now we're running the max fans, and they're averaging about 3,300, but currently at 3,200. Peak temperatures at 86 degrees. It's very good. As you can see, the current temperature on average is very good. Very impressed. Hi, so that's my first quick look at the new Aero 15, and I must admit I am in love with it. I love this OLED panel. It's got the DCI P3 100% color gamut. You know, it far exceeds by, it's got 25% extra colors than the standard sRGB. You know, if you don't mind, you know, gaming using VSync to eliminate the tearing, it's perfectly fine. I had a quick go at Overwatch on it over my lunch hour, and it ran perfectly fine. I liked it, and it's great for movies and for video editing. So that's what you got to ask yourself: are you a content creator perhaps first, or what's your workload really, or do you game most of the time? Because of course you can hook this up to a another monitor, a high refresh monitor if you like for gaming, if you game a lot at home. The keyboard I do like, although I'm not a great fan that the secondary function keys aren't lit up. But port wise, it's got all the ports I would want, including a fast SD card reader for a lot of my video files. Build quality has been stepped up a notch as well. Nice little touches with the Aero engraved at the back. I do like the fingerprint reader now. That is a great touch. Now if you're a gamer, they have options for you as well. They got the IGZO 240Hz panel, and that could be a good panel as well, particularly say if you are a gamer. Anyway, also another thing, I do like the cooling. The cooling brought to the keyboard, above the function keys as well. You've got the 4 heat sinks now. I had my doubts at first whether it would be good for the i9, and I actually think it would be okay with the i9 9980 HK CPU, that 8-core CPU. So I think, you know what, if I had 3 jobs, I could probably get one of these. Anyway, thank you for watching. Bye.